Hey everyone, Mark Hespin here from On the Mark on News Talk 1070 KHMO. Follow me on Twitter/X, whatever you want to call it, at Mark Hespin, MarkHespen. Also follow me on Instagram at Mark Hespin. Follow the show On the Mark KHMO on Facebook. Just search it there, On the Mark KHMO, all one word, and then tune in every Saturday morning on News Talk 1070 KHMO on the dial and the KHMO app. Time for my post-Week 7 NFL Power Rankings and, of course, a Chicago Bears update for you all as well. Let's jump right into it, starting at the top and working our way all the way down like we like to do here on the Power Rankings. Coming in number 1, the Kansas City Chiefs. Listen, the Chiefs number 1 last week, number 1 this week. I think we are at the point in time now where this Kansas City Chiefs team is really, really the full team that you can trust. That right now at this point in the season, my questions are so small, so minimal compared to so many of the other teams. And I will just say this, they're the hottest team in football right now. I mean, winning, having lost to the Lions week 1 and having not lost since. I will say this about Kansas City. I think the question still remains of the wide receiver core. I mean, bringing in Mecole Hardman feels like one of those moves, like, is it a little desperation? Can he jump right back in and be a contributor for them? I think absolutely he can. But I'd like to see them keep feeding the rookie, Rice. And as long as Taylor Swift's watching Kansas City Chiefs football games, Travis Kelce is unstoppable. He's, up there for Offensive Player of the Year right now, in my opinion, for his impact to the game. Eagles move back up a spot to number 2. Listen, a really impressive win for the Eagles on Sunday Night Football against Miami. What I think we learned about the Eagles is that when push comes to shove, they had a bad game and they responded. And they responded really, really well. Jalen Hurts played phenomenal football. This Eagles team is probably the most well-rounded NFL team right now, just top to bottom, because they have the weapons that Kansas City necessarily doesn't. The question will be, obviously, hey, just like we saw in the Super Bowl last year, one team has Mahomes and Andy Reid, the other team doesn't. And so how much will that play into it? Right now, it looks like we are barreling towards a rematch of the Super Bowl last year. I don't think any of us are complaining too hard about that. Eagles at number 2. Ravens are the big movers. They go up 5 spots from 8 to number 3. Listen, the Baltimore Ravens finally did what we've been waiting for them to do, which is like play a complete football game to their utmost potential from start to finish, and they blew out a very good Detroit Lions team. Listen, for the Ravens, you have to be feeling good after that win. Lamar Jackson dominates the NFC. That stat's been thrown around a million times. He's 16-1 in the NFC in his career. That's insane. It just goes to show you there's something special about Lamar. He's playing at that special MVP level right now. Things are clicking in Baltimore. If they would have caught some passes against the Steelers, they might be a one-loss team right now. Ravens got to be feeling good. They're up to number 3 in the power rankings. Jaguars up 3 spots to number 4. Listen, the Jags coming up to the number 4 spot to me is a lot about the fact that Trevor Lawrence is running the football. Their only real losses in the last year of play has been to the Chiefs, which no shame in losing to the Kansas City Chiefs. The Jaguars, to me, feel like a team right now that are really starting to put everything together. There's a lot of moving parts for this Jags team in the offseason. It's coming together. Their quarterback's playing well. He's running the ball. He's just taking what the defense gives him, and he is playing really confident football. Love the Jags, love Trevor Lawrence, the way they're playing right now. And the schedule opens up for the Jags, as we've talked about. They have some really winnable games, and the tough games are still at home. Lions, they dropped 3 spots to number 5. I'm not panicky if I'm the Detroit Lions. I'm not. That is a burn the tape. Oh my gosh, we got punched in the mouth by Lamar Jackson type of football game on the road. Listen, the Lions have a very easy schedule remaining. The Lions are going to be around. They're going to hang around. They're going to beat up on bad opponents, or at least they should. I'll be concerned if the Lions lose a game at home to an inferior opponent. On the road against a really good Ravens team, you burn the tape. Dan Campbell get his guys motivated. Hey, this is a great thing for the Lions, right? Everyone was singing your praises. People were talking about Super Bowl for the Lions. I certainly was. Come back to earth, regroup. Season's not over, far from over. You're in a great spot if you're the Detroit Lions to still be an absolute contender in the NFC. The Niners drop further down. They go to number 6 this week, dropping 2 spots. The lowest the Niners have been on the power rankings. Listen, when you don't have Trent Williams and you don't have Deebo Samuel, The rest of this Niners team is very good, but your quarterback starts to be exposed a little bit. Brock Purdy is better than the backups that we've seen with the San Francisco 49ers before. But he's still just Brock Purdy. And I've been saying that all season long. That, to me, in my opinion, he is the best of what they've had in the Kyle Shanahan era. But does that mean this is a guaranteed Super Bowl team for the Niners? Clearly not. They hadn't lost a regular season game in, all of Brock Purdy's life and 18 straight or whatever. Now they've lost 2 in a row. Not time to panic if you're San Francisco, but time to understand that you need to get healthy. Trent Williams, Deebo Samuel are way more important than you thought they were, and that's okay. These guys are all pro-level type players to support your young quarterback who hasn't even played a full season of football yet. It's okay that they're shaky right now. These are road games, tough part of the schedule. Niners should not panic. Niners could absolutely still make it to a Super Bowl. But right now, I like the Lions and the Eagles better in the NFC than the Niners. And I think that's fair because I know Jared Goff and I know Jalen Hurts. I still don't know what I'm getting for Brock Purdy in the biggest of moments. And in last week on Monday Night Football in primetime against a bad Vikings defense, he looked very, very average. So there's a concern there. The Dolphins coming in at number 7, they drop a spot. Listen, the Dolphins had a chance to show up, show out, and prove that they belong at the big boy level, and they got absolutely beat up by the Eagles on the road. Nothing to panic, but so far the Dolphins haven't beaten anyone yet, right? They've won their winnable games. That's good. They've blown out some really bad teams. That's great. But they haven't beaten anyone of note. And so that's going to be a thing to keep an eye on for the Dolphins as they drop to 7. The Bills plummeting. They dropped to number 8 in the power rankings. I still have the Bills in the top 10. A lot of people are panicking, throwing the Bills out of the top 10. They still have Josh Allen. They still have Stephon Diggs. I still like a lot of their offensive firepower and their weaponry. They're in a lull right now. They're in a weird tailspin. They've lost 3 games. The division looks like it's now up for grabs with them in Miami. But losing to Bill Belichick, there's nothing to be ashamed of in a divisional game, in a really kind of a must-win game for the Patriots. You can understand where that comes from. It's the bad performance with the Giants and the shaky performance overseas. It's now a 3-week pattern for the Bills without Matt Milano, without some stars on defense. They got to be aggressive at the trade deadline, but I still am not totally pulling the plug on the Buffalo Bills yet. They're at 8. Bengals, they had a bye week and they stay at number 9. I'm not going to hate on the Bengals for not doing anything for a week. Listen, they still finding their stride. Joe Burrow's got now healthier than he's been since before the injury. And so there's no reason to not keep the Bengals at number 9 and to be positive about the Bengals going into week 8. And I'm going to put the Steelers, yes, at number 10. I am this at a loss for words with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Offensively, I don't trust them. Defensively, they are elite. But they're finding ways to win games. They're finding ways to come up big in big moments. TJ Watt's having a great year. And so, yeah, I'll give Steelers a little love at the number 10 spot. Shout out to my guy, Dan Vasco, Steelers Nation, making the power rankings in the top 10. All right, Chicago Bears update. I'll be quick with this one. I don't think there's much to say. Listen, Tyson Bagent, everyone wants me to talk about Tyson Bagent. I think the Bears may have found their backup quarterback of the future. What you want from a backup quarterback is to be able to come in, manage the offense, not turn the ball over, and win you a game or 2 while your quarterback is missing time. So far, he's done that. Now, he has a chance this week because it looks like Justin Fields is doubtful again to put in primetime Sunday Night Football against the Chargers to really, really elevate his stock. Do I think he's capable of doing that? Listen, I love watching the Bears win games, so I hope he wins a game. I hope he can find a way to win another game. But he also noticed the Bears team really stepped up around him. It was a great performance by Jalen Johnson, that defense. The offensive line with Tevin Jenkins was fantastic. Darnell Wright and Jenkins really coming to their own. That offensive line as a whole still needs some working in the center position and the other guard position, but Tyson can get the help he got this past week against the Chargers this week. No reason to think the Bears can't go on the road and have a nice showing against the Chargers. But all I think about Tyson Bagent right now is the Bears may have found their backup quarterback of the future. As soon as Justin Fields is healthy enough to play, the kid needs to play. And I think you will. There you go. Can't wait for week 8 in the NFL. I'll post on bets on Twitter X, whatever you want to call it. Follow the show. Tune in Saturday morning, 9:05 sharp on the Mark News Talk 1070 KHMO. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Mark Hespin.